Okay, so if we start on our course homepage, you'll notice that I posted an announcement this morning mentioning our midterm exam coming soon. Of course, our exam is this week. It is Thursday, and I'll talk more about the location and time and all the details here when I get into the midterm review page. But you'll also notice this was the announcement for today. You'll notice the announcement that I made before we left for the March break. I opened up the midterm review page, and you can click on it right here. Or as usual, you can find any of the content in the course once it's opened by clicking on the course work. And so I'm going to jump right in to Unit 2, Activity 3, which is our midterm review. And it looks something like this. All right. So our midterm exam is going to be out of 60 marks. The marks, as you'll see, is not, could be out of 60, could be out of 100, whatever it may be. It's going to be a large portion of your overall grade. So it's going to work out to about 20% of your final grade. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the semester, the in-class exams, the work that you do in class is worth the most in this course. So the midterm exam and the final exam. The date for our exam is 12:45 on Thursday, March 26th. So this Thursday. I would ask that you please come on time at 12:45. The exam will be held in the St. Michael's cafeteria. So if you come in, if anyone is not familiar, if this is your first class at St. Michael's and you haven't had to come in to write an exam before, you're just going to come in the front doors and turn right to your right, and you'll see the cafeteria. You can't miss it if you go in the front doors. And what'll happen is I will be doing 2 exams in that room in the cafeteria on that day. I will be doing an ENG4C exam, and I will be doing an OLC literacy exam. And another teacher, Miss Vanessa, will also be doing an OLC exam. So we will have students from different courses in the cafeteria writing different exams. So you do have to check in, and I do have to verify your identification. So I do need to see photo ID. I need to see some sort of photo ID with your name on it so that I can mark you present, and then you can write the exam. So please do arrive around 12:45 and make sure that you're ready to write. What else can I say? The exam will be written entirely on paper, so there is no cell phones, laptops, Chromebooks, electronic dictionaries, or translators. You are not allowed to have any electronic devices out at any time during the exam. Also, you will not have access to your notes. I think that's self-explanatory. All you need to bring is a pencil, a pen, an eraser, something that something to write, and you'll be fine. I'll provide you with any extra paper that you need. It's just your job to bring your pencil or your pen. And that's about it in terms of the rules. You will have 2 hours to write the exam. So the goal is to get everyone registered and ready to write the exam from 12:45 until 1 o'clock, and then get you started as close to 1 o'clock as possible. Maybe even a little earlier. We'll see how it goes. But you will have at least 2 hours to write the exam. So if we get started on time at 1 o'clock, it'll be perfect. You'll get to write until 3 p.m. So that's when St. Michael's closes, is 3 p.m. And the exam is meant to be done in 2 hours. If for some reason I hand out the exams late and we don't get started till 1:05 or something, I promise you'll still get 2 hours, and I'll let you can write till 3:05. But the goal is to get the exams out and students going by 1 o'clock. That's the goal. All right. What else can I tell you? The exam format, the exam will be broken up into 5 parts. We'll have multiple choice. So there'll be a few multiple choice questions. There'll be content questions based on the activities on the course website. There'll be 6 fill in the blank questions. So I usually think of fill in the blank and multiple choice as content questions. Just, do you know the basic terms? Do you know the basic ideas that we've been talking about? So maybe an example of a question that I could ask you for multiple choice or fill in the blank is, maybe I could ask you something about, for example, we just did character in story elements. So maybe I could ask you something like, what do we call a character that does not learn anything important throughout a story? And I would expect you to know that that type of character is a static character, for example. So multiple choice and fill in the blank is, as I said, content based. There'll be 2 short answer questions. And when I say short answer questions, I mean probably 5 or 6 sentences each. So you don't have to write a full paragraph or anything like that, but you do have to write sentences, and you do have to give me examples to support your points. So an example of a short answer question could be something like, let's stick with let's go with the strategies, the listening and speaking strategies. So maybe I could ask you a question in the short answer. I could say something like, identify 3 specific listening strategies from Unit 1 and provide an example of how you use them in your life. And then give an example from your own life, something like that. So the short answer asks you to show your knowledge of the content and then provide examples to support yourself. And then we get into the 2 parts of the exam that are worth the most and that take the longest. There's a reading response. So I will give you something to read. It'll be approximately 1 page. It will not be overly lengthy. It won't be anywhere near as long as, for example, the stories that you had to read for our last activity for Unit 2, Activity 2. It'll be like a 1-page story, and you'll have to answer questions based on that story. We'll get to a practice one here in a minute, and I'll show you what it's like. And then the opinion paragraph, I will give you a question. It is kind of an open-ended question. It's not meant to be a question that takes you a lot of time to think about. It's just going to be a question that hopefully you can quickly have an opinion about, and then give me your opinion and 3 points and examples in a proper paragraph. So when I say an opinion paragraph, I would suggest about 10 to 12 sentences. And that's about it. That's your format. Those are your 5 different parts of the exam. Now, in terms of what to study, the content. So now I'll take a look at the content here. I've broken up the content into Unit 1, Unit 2, reading response, and paragraph answer. So for Unit 1, we had 3 activities. We had listening and speaking. We had informal and formal language, business letters, professional emails in Activity 2, and we had narrative elements in Activity 3. And then, of course, you had to write me a narrative essay. Any of these topics are fair game on the test. So I could use these topics for multiple choice questions, fill in the blank, short answer questions. I would expect you to know these topics. In terms of Unit 2, our midterm has come early this semester, and so I haven't had a chance to finish all of Unit 2, but we've got through the main activity of Unit 2, which is the story elements. So I would expect you to know the story elements: character, plot, setting, point of view, and theme, which you hopefully just went over when you did your short story chart in Unit 2, Activity 2. And then, of course, I would expect you to know modern genres and character and plot archetypes, which hopefully you covered when you were doing your comic strip in the first activity of Unit 2. Again, I can use any of these topics. I could turn them into multiple choice questions, fill in the blank, short answer. I could definitely ask you about these ideas when you're doing the reading response. So I could ask you to read a story, which you'll have to do in the reading response, and then I could ask you, what do you think the genre of the story is, or what do you think is a character archetype in the story, or do you think the character in the story is flat or round, or which types of conflict are in the story? So I'll expect you to take what we learned in Unit 2 and apply it when you read a short story on the exam. And then again, your paragraph, you'll have to write me a properly structured paragraph. So I'd say approximately 10 to 12 sentences. And you're going to state an opinion on a topic related to course material and provide supporting examples. I'm going to show you an example, a practice question here in a minute, which you may have already looked at. And maybe that'll give you a better understanding of what I mean by the paragraph answer. Any topic that's not listed here, I don't know if there's anything, there's certainly some small things in that are in the activities if that aren't mentioned here. If I'm not mentioning something here, I won't ask about it on the exam. Okay. All right. What else can I say? The practice exercises. So what I did was I took these topics and turn them into sort of practice questions, or questions in which you could use to make your own notes or your own study guide for the exam. So if you click here and here, you can open up your own copy of a Google Doc with review questions for Unit 1 and Unit 2. And so the Unit 1 looks like this. And so again, you'll see a question about listening strategies. You'll see a question about speaking strategies. You'll see a question about formal and informal language. You'll see a question about the types of business letters we took a look at. You'll see a professional email question and narrative questions. These are meant that you're not submitting these questions to me. These are just meant as questions that you can pretty much answer these questions by going through your notes or by reviewing the course website, going through the different activities in Unit 1. And if you make notes here, and I wouldn't try to write out full paragraph answers for any of these, but if you just make notes answering these questions, you're kind of creating your own study guide. I could ask a question that's very similar to one of these or two of these on your exam, but I'm not saying I'm going to ask the exact same questions, but the topics are going to be the same. The content is not going to change. So again, my thought is if you go through these review questions, you're creating your own study guide. Same thing with Unit 2. So if you look at Unit 2 review questions, you've got story elements. So you've got questions about archetypes, genre, flat, round, static, dynamic characters. You've got conflict, atmosphere and mood, point of view, theme. So all of the different major topics that we talked about in Unit 2 are listed here, and you've got a little question that hopefully makes you make some notes and hopefully remember the different concepts and different terms that we've talked about. Again, all I did was take these topics right here and turn them into just sort of generic practice questions, just to kind of hopefully force you to make notes on these topics so that you have yourself a little study guide. I also gave you a practice reading response. So I gave you a story to read and some questions to answer. So the story was called The Sniper. So if we go down and take a look here, this is the story. The story this is about a page and a half or 2 pages. The story that you'll read on the exam is similar in length, not quite as long as this. It's a little bit shorter, but again, it's probably about a page and a half. And so it's not overly lengthy. You're not going to have to read a 10-page story, I promise you. But you're going to read the short story I give you on the exam, and then you're going to answer questions. And the story is going to be different. It's not going to be this story here called The Sniper, but the questions I give you could be somewhat similar. I mean, genre, archetype, flat round, atmosphere and mood, conflict, point of view, theme, right? These are all the different types of story elements that I would expect you to know and that I would expect you to be able to apply to a story. And hopefully you have good practice with this because you've just done the short story chart in Unit 2, Activity 2. So I would do this practice reading response and see how you do on it. And if you feel comfortable reading this story and answering these questions, you should feel reasonably comfortable that you'll be able to do the same thing on Thursday on the exam. I also gave you a practice paragraph question. And so if you take a look here, this is what you'll see on the exam. You'll see something that looks very similar. The instructions will be pretty much the same here. It'll just be a different question. Okay. And so it says, write one paragraph. Please don't write me an essay. Please don't write me 3 paragraphs or 5 paragraphs. That's not going to improve your grade. It'll hurt your grade because you're not giving me the structure that I'm asking for. Okay. Plus, you're not going to have time to write a full essay on the exam. That's not the intention. And so give me one proper paragraph, topic sentence, body sentences, concluding sentence with approximately 10 to 12 sentences. And in this case, the question says, what is your favorite modern genre covered in Unit 2? Explain 3 reasons why. Provide specific supporting examples from stories you have read or watched. So in this case, you can provide examples from whatever movie, TV show, comic book, short story that you would like, whether it's from school or whether it's just something that you like to watch in your free time. The examples are your own. You can come up with them. In the next unit, when we get into a novel, you'll have to use examples from the novel that we read. But so far, we haven't done a big piece of reading together in this course. And so I'm allowing you on this exam, except on the reading response, I suppose, but I'm allowing you to use your own examples to back yourself up. You don't have to use examples necessarily from this course. So just to give you an idea, the simplest way to answer this question, what is your favorite modern genre? Let's say it's comedy, right? So you just establish a topic sentence establishing that comedy is your favorite modern genre. You give me a reason why. You give me an example to back yourself up from a story or from a movie. You give a second reason why. You give an example to back it up. You give me a third reason why. You give me an example to back it up. And you wrap it up with a concluding sentence, and you've got yourself a basic paragraph. You do want to give me specific examples. So you don't want to be vague. You want to give me specific examples. But the main purpose of the paragraph is to show me your writing skills. It's the communication part of the exam. So I'll be looking at your sentence structure. I'll be looking at your paragraph structure. I'll be looking at the quality of your writing, maybe more so than what you're writing about. So if I ask you your opinion, like what's your favorite modern genre, there is no right answer. You give me whatever answer you like, as long as it's one of the genres we talked about in Unit 2. And as long as you give me reasons and supporting examples, you'll be fine. It's not about being right or wrong on the paragraph. It's about showing me your writing skills. And that is pretty much it. That's the structure of the exam. That's the content of the exam. And these are the practice questions. I think that's just about everything I want to say. If anyone has any questions, I will take them. And if not, that's okay too. All right, so what I will do is I will stop the recording. I've covered what I wanted to cover here. And then if anyone wants to stick around and talk to me one-on-one, we can do that.
Hi, teacher.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Good.
Very
Uh,
good, thanks.
okay. I'm so sorry for the meeting today because I can't attend. I couldn't attend all the meeting due the my daughter appointment.
Right.
I would like to ask you a question, please. Do you will give us in the exam the same question like in paragraph, the same question you were talking about?
No, 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 it would definitely be different. So like this paragraph question here about genre.
Yeah.
No, I'd ask you about something else. This is just a practice question.
Mm,
The question could be somewhat similar, but it's not going to be about genre. No. Um,
mm,
the intention of the paragraph is to read a question that you have not seen and then be able to give me your opinion and be able to write me a proper paragraph. It is not meant to be a hard question. It's not meant to be a question that you have to think a lot about. It's meant to be a question that you can just read, immediately think, oh, this is my opinion, and then start writing. Sometimes students get themselves in trouble with the paragraph question because they'll try to write a rough copy of it, and then they'll try to write a second copy of it, and then they'll try to write their final copy, and all of a sudden they're out of time, and they say, oh, wait, I didn't, I still want to rewrite it. It's not meant to be something that you can rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. It's meant to show me that you can sit down and you can answer a question in paragraph form, kind of right there, right off the top of your head. Um,
mhm.
that's the intention.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. One other thing I would say is you can organize your time on the exam any way you like. So hold on one second.
Excuse me, teacher. Your mic is off.
Sorry, thank you about the
No problem.
thank you. I was just saying that you can do this the exam in whatever order you want. You don't like this is the order: multiple choice, fill in the blank, short answer, reading response, paragraph. But you certainly can do the paragraph first if you want, or do the reading response first. That way, if you're running short on time at the end, or if you're really tired and I've been going for an hour and a half, this is a lot of writing or something, it's easier to do multiple choice maybe at the end for some people than it is to write a paragraph. So just keep that in mind. It's up to you which order you want to do the test, and that's completely up to you. One other thing I would say is when you do the practice reading response and you do the practice opinion paragraph, if you want to do it as like a practice test, see if you can write your opinion paragraph in 30 minutes. So see if you can say, okay, my favorite genre, here I go, 30 minutes, and just write it. Okay. And then for the reading response, see if you can read the short story and answer the question that I gave you in 45 minutes. Because when I create the exam is meant to be done in 2 hours, right? And so if you do The paragraph is meant to be done in about approximately 30 minutes, and the reading response in approximately 45. Some students certainly can do it faster than that, but if you're taking an hour and a half to do the reading response, you're not going to have enough time to do the rest of the exam. So it's good practice to do the practice questions I've given you, and to time yourself, and to see if you can do it within, again, I would say the reading response in 45 minutes and the paragraph in 30 minutes. That's an hour and 15 minutes. That gives you another 45 minutes. Whoops. That gives you another 45 minutes to do the short answer, the fill in the blank, and the multiple choice, which should be more than enough time. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you so much for your clear explanation, teacher.
Oh, I appreciate that. So, like I said, I'm going to stop the recording here. And then if anyone wants to stick around and ask me anything privately or one-on-one, I can take any questions.